Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of The Punisher issue 221, and this did a great job of continuing the great story of what we've been going through with Frank going after Petrov. We had last seen him sinking to the ocean, and this one started off, fishing crew getting him up, and they're like, what is this, a sculpture? The robot man's trying to do something with his face, and he's like, gets the faceplate off, asks how to get to the nearest land, and figuring out that his suit's pretty messed up. And they wanted to get into a hospital. He's like, screw that, I need to get to land because I got people to kill. So the first part of this kind of deals with Frank having to deal with the situation of fixing his armor, and it's kind of cool to see what he needs to do to get through that situation, because he's kind of back to his regular stuff going through the woods. We see one of the other armored ex-SHIELD agents going off to take a leak, and Frank pretty much coming up behind him with a knife and saying, listen, if you want to be standing up still, you take off your armor and you follow me. So he gets him to take off his armor and follow him to their kind of lab that they were having to make sure that their armor was all right and everything. This was back in the days when they were SHIELD. So Frank ties him up to a tree. He's like, but I could die of exposure. He's like, well, there are worse ways to go. And then Frank just goes in and pretty much one-mans his way through the building pretty much. He gets up. He gets control of it. This one wandering guard is pretty much trying to get at the tied-up ex-SHIELD agent. But, of course, Frank comes in and slams his knife into the dude's head. And, of course, the ex-SHIELD agent tries to set him up in a trap that, oh, there shouldn't be any guards down that way, but of course Frank takes him out and he's just like, oh god, I'm screwed. So they get down to the main laboratory and we see this one kind of dude just sitting there eating a sandwich. And of course Fury calls in asking him what he's doing. We get a kind of funny Star Wars reference being like, what, that I'm your only hope? Oh, I get that joke. And Frank's like, what joke? And that would make sense that Frank wouldn't know that much about Star Wars if he's just been on his crusade for justice and everything and just be like, oh, that I'm your only hope in these kind of situations. It was just a cool little thing. And he tells him about the SHIELD agent the ex-SHIELD agent that he had in his custody, because he was saying, you know what, I can be of use to you and help you fix your armor. And he goes, no, he was a junior agent. And then Frank just caps his ass right there and then recruits Sandwich, as he calls him, to help fix his armor. Telling Fury to help him out by saying, okay, monitor what this dude is doing so it doesn't fuck my shit up, and get me all the information on SHIELD agents that have turned and the whole rundown of Petrov's kind of lieutenants, generals, all that kind of stuff. So then we see Frank, his armor's back on top, and this is his new thing. He's got to get Petrov to make a move and come out in the open. So he just starts going. He grabs one dude, takes him up in the stratosphere, makes them fall down. He takes two of them as they're in a jeep and throws them into a tree. The funniest and coolest one was a dude was ice fishing, and then he looks down and Frank is under the ice, and you see the outline of the armor and the eyes, and he just goes through the ice and grabs it. He's like, no, no. And then we just see the scene of the chair tipped over and nothing going on. It's like, that's pretty badass. And the last one that he gets to, this dude in Petrov's army is taking this girl back home. She's trying to hang up her coat, and she's trying to hang it up on Frank, even though his armor's in stealth mode. And then he's like, detected, and we've got to work on that armor. And he takes the dude and rips him in half. Meanwhile, Fury gets on his comms and says, Petrov, you got to get out of there, Frank, and because we got problems. And Frank's like, I don't have any problems. And we get that Petrov has put out a video saying that the Punisher needs to leave the country or they will respond in force, nuclear force. And Fury's like, he's got the nukes. This is escalated too quickly. You need to get out of there. But of course Frank goes, hey, I told you if I pushed enough, he'd get out in the open. I'm like, yeah, this is Frank's tactic. Granted, this is a lot bigger than what Frank's usually been dealt with, because usually he's dealing with street level. Now he's got to deal with somebody using nukes, but the same tactics apply. He's got his War Machine armor, he's got nukes and other armored people, but he now knows where he's at, broadcasting from the missile silo. So Frank's plans kind of worked. He just has to make sure that a nuke's not launched, which is still a tall order, but we've seen Frank rip-roaring through this country as a one-man killing machine. So he has had problems, but I'm really intrigued to see how Petrov is going to try and put up a fight with him, because he can launch a nuke, but that still gives him enough time for Frank to rip him in half before he has to fly off and do whatever he needs to make sure that the nuke doesn't hit a really bad spot. So I just love how they've taken this concept and are really going with it, really exploring how Frank will have to deal in these situations, especially with this one where his armor broke. He's like, I need to fix my armor. I need to fix my kit. And seeing them do that was really pretty cool. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.